Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
So, hello and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You, Time for You, by You, because of you. For those who don't know, my name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I'm an empowerment life coach supporting women around the world to lean in and realize the importance of you. The goal of this channel is to provide you, the viewer, some takeaways that will help you shift, change, and reevaluate and/or become more aware of what is totally possible for you. We have a variety of incredible guests who will be sharing their life experiences that have helped them become the incredible human beings that they are today. Every one of us, sometime in our lives, when we've had that infamous free time, frequently feel guilty, embarrassed, or wrong for taking out time for ourselves. We are here to help change that and support you to see what is possible for you when you take the time for you, by you, because of you. It is an absolute honor and privilege to welcome our guest to the show today, Jessica Marcy. Jess has worked with people for over 10 years, helping them declutter. She has worked in homes with people. She has hosted and held multiple workshops in person and online, and has held Facebook clutter boot camps and has had over 3,500 registrants for those boot camps. Overall, Jess has had over 30,000 people sign up for her programs to help them declutter. Jess has personally impacted at least, and I would say this number is low, 10,000 people with her work, which includes tackling clutter in their lives. So welcome to the show, Jess. It's an honor and privilege, not only to have you here, but to be in your sphere. So thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Today. It's great to have you. Oh my goodness. Jess and I met, was it 2 or 3 years ago now?
I don't, I would say it's probably like 2.5 years ago, I'm guessing. Although like the time is all just one big, like, the last 3 years have been complicated.
Welcome to the world, right? What the work that you do around supporting people for decluttering, can you give us a little bit of a sense as to how this kind of unfolded for you? I know people in the audience are kind of like, I've always had an interest in that idea. What happened? How did you do this? What happened?
So, I mean, how much time do we have? Any good coach, good professional has walked the walk themselves, right? Like that to me is really important. When I work with people, I want to make sure that they have gone through what I'm experiencing, so that they really have that experience of being, in this case, like surrounded by clutter and having to figure out how to kind of rise above the whole thing. I would say that I've always been naturally organized, but organization and clutter are completely different. And that was a big part of my learning curve. So I have 2 daughters, they're 16 and 13. And when they were babies, my world felt overwhelming, right? Having children today, as you know, Denise, and talk about all the time, it's really complicated. And part of the complication is that there's so much physical stuff, right? So you have a baby, and before you even birth that child, your house is filling up with things, so much stuff. And not only the physical stuff, but you're reading everything you can about how, this week in your pregnancy, this week in your child's development, the best way to do this, the best way to do that, right? So that's also a form of clutter. You're just bombarded with information and stuff. And that was really the beginning of my journey, when I felt like I had these 2 little girls and I was completely drowning in all of the other things. Like I was not able to spend time with them like I wanted to, because every weekend I was going through hand-me-downs and like pulling out stuff that didn't fit and, trying to clean and maintain an organized house. And I was drowning. And I couldn't figure it out because, again, I'm naturally organized. Like my house was organized, but all of my time was going to these other things. So I kind of started this whole like deep dive into what am I doing that I can fix? Like, why is this not the idyllic version of motherhood, which doesn't really exist, but it was like so far from that, you know, like,
Yeah.
what can I do? What can I do here? So I started untangling all of the physical stuff. And I realized like all the information that we're getting from the professional organizing industry, from like the gurus, from the Container Store, from all that, it's all wrong. It's actually about storing clutter, not dealing with your clutter.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it's never about the stuff. It's about all the other things that are connected to this stuff, right? In my case, it was about early motherhood and my identity and just, you know, all of those things. So that was the start of my journey. I started eventually helping my friends declutter their homes using like my own things that I had learned. And it just turned into a side gig, which turned into a business, which turned into a, you know, workshops, and then it turned into an online thing, and it's just grown over the years. So that's how I got here today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, I really like what you're talking about in terms of I was organized, but organization and clutter are two different things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Very important because I see a lot of people buy this organizer and your clutter will disappear, right?
Yeah, that's
I
the lie that you're sold. Totally. Get another box or bin. All you need to do is contain your clutter and you're going to be fine. Your life is going to be so much better. And they're just so far from the truth.
Yeah. Is it a journey that takes time, or how does that work?
I
Because I
think,
know some people want. I want the end game. I just want
yeah.
to be there.
So I think, like anything else, if you really want change in your life, you have to put in the time and the effort. When we're talking about strictly clutter, it took years for your house to get cluttered, years. And it's going to take time for it to get uncluttered. And if you are devoted to that process and going through it one thing at a time, you're going to learn so much about yourself that everything in your life is going to change. You're going to be empowered in all areas, as we see in our groups all the time. If somebody comes in and cleans out your house for you, you haven't learned anything. I mean, it feels great, but you haven't changed. So that's, you know, and maybe that's where you're at. That's fine, but that's not the work that we do.
Right, right. I love what you're saying there because the external versus the internal world, right?
Yeah,
And they are definitely connected. And as you start to step into your journey, you begin to see and shine spotlights in areas that you didn't even recognize before. And then stuff that gets to shed can shed because you're doing the work, right?
absolutely. I saw, you
Yeah.
know, people often are like, why like this? Why is it like this? Why do I have this? Why do I do this? And my response is just keep decluttering. The answer to your why is at the bottom of the stuff. Like go through the thing, go through the process. You'll find out why. Then there's
Yeah.
multiple whys, right? You don't need to know that your why to get started.
I love that. Don't, did you hear that, everyone? Don't need to know your why to get started. Huge, right?
Yeah,
We always want the answer. I just want to get to that end goal, but it's a journey and a process. And if you take the journey and process with the support of Jess and her incredible um, offerings that she has, you can start to understand yourself in ways you didn't even know before, let alone have access to, right? Like it's just so powerful. Is everybody's journey the same?
nobody has a similar journey. I mean, there's similarities, but nobody has the same journey, right? Like, so some people, I really think when you're tackling clutter, you need to tackle the physical clutter. You need to tackle the mindset. Like, there's mindset shifts that have to happen. You need to tackle your identity clutter. And you may have financial clutter. You may have relationships that are complicated, you know, and just a little spoiler alert, Denise works within my groups and helps our clients and our group members kind of deal with some of this relationship stuff and communication stuff. It's all connected. So maybe your focus is mindset and communication, and you don't touch your actual clutter for like a year, but then you're all of a sudden ready to dive right in. Or maybe you're like powering through your clutter, but the mindset shift is taking a little bit longer. So it's really just whatever whatever journey you need to take, whatever steps in your path, they're there, but it's not in the same order ever.
Love that. Love that. And do you find that people revisit as they start to chip away? Let's say it's kind of like a sculpture. I see it, you're chipping away and like, oh, I'm starting to see an arm, but wait a
Mhm.
minute, is that an arm or is that a leg? I think I need to do a little bit more there.
Yeah, it's like 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. I don't actually think you're moving backwards, but that's how it might feel, right? I think
Oh,
it's part of the process. So yeah, you just keep circling around. We do 1 round of decluttering, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can get rid of all this other stuff, right? So we do another
nice.
round of decluttering, and until it just becomes part of you.
Right. You like you talked about, you change,
Mhm.
right? And you start to probably do what we're talking here in this program is find time, excuse me, for you, by you, because of you, as a result of decluttering, right?
So I love the time part of this, Denise. I'm glad that you brought that up because it really, at the end of the day, this is about your time. So clutter more than anything else steals your time. It's not stealing your money, which we tend to like have this messed up view of, you know, I need to keep this because I paid for it. But
Mm,
you've already paid for it. So now you're paying for it with your time. Everything comes down to time. Money is a renewable resource. We can make more money in the future. We can never get our time back. And we don't know how much time we have on this earth either. So, the number one thing that you should be prioritizing is your time. And more than anything else, like I said, clutter just steals your time. If you're spending 10 minutes a day looking for something, that's
mm,
61 hours a year. So, and most people are spending more than 10 minutes. The average American, I don't know about Canadians, but the average American is spending 50 minutes a day looking for something. It's like months of your life just gone because you're searching for something. That's your time that you'll never get back. Or if you wake up and you look around and you feel so frustrated and overwhelmed with your living situation, the next interaction you have with a family member is going to be colored by
mm.
that frustration, right? And that is your time also that you're never going to get back. You can never go back and change that interaction. So it infiltrates every area of your life.
Yeah. And until you start that process, you don't even see with clarity. Like you say, it's about the stuff. That's what people start with. I just have too much stuff and I don't know what to do with it anymore. And I bought all the books on how to organize. I bought all the books on, right? It's like,
Yeah,
it's a
declutter that
journey,
stuff.
right?
Throw out those books right now.
Go to the shelf, go to the shelf, go to the
Yeah.
boxes, whatever, wherever you've got them, right? Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's where you were at the time, but now something brand new through our conversation today. So now you can start to think, oh, there's a different way that I can approach this. I can
Right.
reach out and I can say, Jess, how do I get a hold of you, right? As part of this process. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the top questions that we get is where do I start? And you'll
mm,
see every organizational guru has their starting point, right? Marie Kondo says clothing is the only place to start. I totally think that your starting point is unique to you. What is going to be the easiest thing for you to do? Do you have trash in your house that you can remove? Start there. Do you have socks with holes? Start there. Do you have a junk drawer that you could easily go through and throw out all the pens that don't work? Start there. Start with the emotionally easy stuff because you want to give yourself a win right away. Don't dive into memorabilia in the beginning. That is a big mistake.
right? It's one of those, it's always pressing, it's always pressing, it's always pressing. And so it's, if I just do this, the rest will fall apart easier for me and I'll be able to go through things differently, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The stuff that weighs you down. I talk a lot about small steps, right? And celebrating those small wins. I think we're pretty much in alignment with that idea, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah.
You have to give your nervous system time to get
Mm,
comfortable with the change that you're making. So if you make a really massive change, it's going to be very difficult for your nervous system to adjust to that. So that's really important that we just protect ourselves internally as we move forward externally. It's interesting to note, sometimes that nervous system comment doesn't resonate or make sense to some people. So think about it this way. If you have clutter in your house and you've had clutter in your house for a long time, you're used to stepping over and around things as you move through your space. When you clear that clutter, you actually feel uncomfortable, physically uncomfortable, because you have to relearn how to navigate your space with less stuff. So that's what I mean about giving your nervous system time to reset and adjust. We want to just very gently move you through this process. Otherwise, it feels shocking and uncomfortable, and you're more likely to go, backwards, right?
Yeah. I do like, though, what you said before, and I want to revisit it in terms of it feels like sometimes we're stepping backwards when in actual fact, when we take a wider lens view, I suspect you realize, you know what, this is how much progress I have made.
Yes.
And focusing on those components is so powerful, right? That's true of anything that we do in life.
Yep.
And I think as humans, we are not good at celebrating our wins at all.
It's part of the problem too. Okay. So when you live with a lot of clutter, you might have somebody who's also, well-intentioned, but maybe not communicating with you in a really positive way. So even if you take a small step and have a win with clutter, you might get feedback from the people that you live with, like, oh, big deal, like that was nothing, right? So we get into this negative feedback loop, and we have to break free from that, because it's really important to recognize every little step is a positive step on the process. And that's where our communities help out a lot. So use our voices instead.
Right? It's so, so true. The communities that you have developed and created are so safe and so supportive of one another. I'm in all kinds of groups, and I'll tell you, this is like none other I've ever seen. And it continues to just be such a positive area where people can go, help, here's where I'm at, here's what happened, I don't know. And oh my gosh, the positive comments. And they're genuine comments.
Yes.
They're not, oh, fakey wakey, right? It's real. It's very real.
It's real, it's vulnerable, and it's safe. And that's the key to having success here, is to be surrounded by people who want you to win, right? And so I was talking to on a coaching call recently, and somebody said, I've been to every doctor, I've been to every therapist, I've been to every program, whatever, but I've never had success until I joined your groups. And I said, well, yeah, because a doctor doesn't have a community cheering you on every single day. Like, they can't do that. That's not their setup. That's our setup. So that's what makes the biggest difference, is that when you surround yourself with people who are like so invested in your success, you're not going to fail.
Yeah. You can't, right?
No. Nope.
You can't fail. No, it's impossible. Yeah. What is the most surprising thing about clutter?
So I think that for most people who join our groups, what they find out is it's not about the stuff. So that's the big surprise. It's not actually about the stuff. It's about a lot of other things, but not about the stuff. The stuff is just one small representation of many things that are going on internally and, in other parts of your life. So it's an easy entry, the stuff, like, let's tackle the stuff, but actually at the end of the day, it's not about the stuff.
Right. Do you find that people who work with you in whatever capacity, because I know you've got a variety of offerings for folks, that once they start in the right track for themselves, they're able to actually keep that momentum with the community? Support is huge. What happens with those who are super success stories? Because I know there's thousands of them. Thousands, like.
Yeah. You have a lot of success stories. I think you have to be committed at whatever that looks like for you. So we have 3 main tracks that we bring people through that really provide different levels of support and are at different price points. So it's $10 a month, $150 a month, or $350 a month. I don't think that any one track is less successful than another. If you make the commitment and show up, you're going to be successful. And at some point you might say, I need extra support. So that's making another commitment to yourself. So putting yourself into the right spot is helpful, but committing and being a little bit consistent every day, right?
Yep.
That's huge. That's huge. But it has to start with you. We have everything you need to be successful, but if you don't invest in with your time and energy, it's never going to work, right? So, yeah.
You're the player, right? It's for you, by you, because of you. You make the commitment. Yes, you might slide sideways a bit or whatever, but it's yours. Yeah, the support's available. You only get to control one person.
We have a snow day here, so we have everyone's in the house.
The grandchildren are coming soon. I think it's going to be a snow day outside a little bit. We can share with folks how to access you with everything that you need. What's the best way? Would it be your free group or?
Well, I think the free group is a good place to start because then you can get a sense of the judgment-free community. So we have a group called It's All Clutter on Facebook. If you search it up, you'll find it. Anyone can join. And that's just kind of a good place to get a sense of our communities. After that, if you want to hop into a $10 a month group with tons of support, do that. Like, don't hesitate. Start with our free community, get a sense for the people in the community, and see if it feels good for you. Sammy, shush. Sorry, Denise.
That's okay. No problem. Okay, fantastic. If this has resonated with you, please make sure you see Jess's name here on the bottom screen. So make sure that you access all that she has to offer. I'm just finding there we are. If you haven't been part of our amazing weekly newsletters, make sure you subscribe. And we give strategies, tips, and strategies every Monday and Friday in our newsletters. And I also have a private Facebook group for free for mom struggling support group. And I do this live stream every Tuesday. So there's lots of ways to be in touch and be supported as a mom in this world. Thank you so much for being here as a special guest
I
today.
love that we met each other and that we work together now. And I think there's a lot of power in having so many different resources and so many incredible coaches. And if you're not getting Denise's newsletter, you should definitely check it. It's full of great resources. So I'll little plug there, but it's true.
Thank you, Jess, for all you do and all you bring to the world. We are fortunate to have you with us. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.